Hi everyone. Welcome back. I'm so happy you're here. Did you have a great week? I had a great week. Actually, I'm filming this like 3 days after releasing the last video, so I had a great 3 days. Actually, I had a terrible 3 days. I'm so happy you're here, and happy I'm also here. I love when we meet like this. This is good. So when I first asked if anyone would be interested in me having a YouTube channel and sharing any stories, I also asked what people would be interested in hearing. Overwhelmingly, the answer was story time. If you don't know me personally, I like to post stories on my Instagram story, and I don't know, I guess they're pretty funny. And I thought that was a fun idea, but I also thought that I don't know that it's that interesting to watch me just like sit here and talk. So I have this little plate of cheese and grapes and some crackers and some wine. If you want to grab your wine and crackers and cheese or whatever snack you want and just sit down and get ready to hear a story, join me. Feel free. It's story time. That is good. Let's get into these crackers first things first, because I'm going to eat an entire sleeve. So a lot of people asked for one specific story that I've actually already told, so I'm gonna try to retell it. I hope I remember all the details. Sorry if I don't. If I don't, call me out, honestly, if you remember from my Instagram story better than I do. I love crackers and cheese for dinner. I'm like, big time yum. I hope everyone enjoys ASMR chewing, because that's gonna happen here. Last summer, I spent 4 months touring China all over the place. Crazy, right? Truly, I loved it. If anyone gets the opportunity once the world opens back up again, and if, anyone wants Americans as tourists ever again, if you ever get the opportunity to visit China and tour around and see all of the amazing places, 10 out of 10 suggest it. It was crazy, it was wacky, the culture shock was like unreal. But in the end, I wouldn't trade it for anything. As many amazing experiences as I had, I also had equally as many frustrating experiences, just from like the culture shock and the culture differences, and just because life is weird. And in my last week there, very last week, next to our hotel was a little strip of stores, and in that strip of stores was a Subway. Eat Fresh. And finding a Subway in China was just like, so I walked to Subway for lunch. I got a turkey and cheese little like hoagie, I'm pretty sure, and I was gonna go back to my hotel. But first, I wanted to stop at this little, like, essentially a CVS kind of place, but like more mom and pop, more very locally owned, like no rules kind of place. And I wanted to stop in there to get a drink and some chips. I walked into this little convenience store and I saw the woman at the register sitting there, and I saw her. She did not see me, foreshadowing. I was like, okay, this is the place where I can buy things. Walked around and I found my little chips that I wanted, and I found my little drink that I wanted. I was like, man, it's hot, because a lot of places in China don't have air conditioning, so it was really hot in there. And the door was like 2 glass doors that had been open, and then behind that were like plastic flaps to keep the bugs out, essentially. Yum. You can't go wrong. Like, this is so gosh darn good. It might be because I'm starving. So I'm in this little convenience store. It's hot as hell. It's like pretty musty, dusty. I like see a mouse running across the wall. So I'm like, I just want to get my little foods and get out. Sorry, I'm so hungry. So I go up to the register and the woman is no longer sitting there. And I stood there for a second with, I think I had a Gatorade and like plain potato chips. And I had my little bag with my turkey sub. I stood there and I waited, and she didn't show up, and I was like, okay. And I walked around the store for a second, and I was like, all right, no one's here. It's weird. And then I walked to the door, And what do I find? The glass doors that had previously been left open have been closed and locked shut. There was a chain placed around the handles of the doors, so it was locked shut. Somehow this all happened without me hearing it, and somehow also I had walked around the store without this woman hearing me. We were all as quiet as the mouse I had seen earlier. So I was locked into a convenience store with no air conditioning in a country where I do not speak the language. They, for the most part, do not speak my language. I didn't know if anyone would walk by. Our Wi-Fi was really bad, so texting was hard to do, calling was hard to do. It was a pretty scary moment realizing I was just locked inside of this place until who knows when. And I also had a show that night and was like, this might be it. Like, I just might miss the show because I'm locked into a convenience store, and I'm also in a country where I like can't explain why I'm locked in, so I could get arrested. Like, who's to say if they'll believe me? I don't know. I got a little brie moment, and I love brie. It's my favorite cheese, So I tried like jiggling the handles. I don't know, maybe I thought the locks were fake, but I remember trying to jiggle the handles and be like, damn, I'm really locked in here. I tried to text my roommate and be like, hey, we might have an issue, and she wasn't answering right away. And I don't know why I didn't try texting anyone else or contacting anyone else, unless it was just because I didn't have a good connection. So I just like waited by the door. I kept my chips and my Gatorade in my hand, and I had my Subway sandwich, and I just stayed like in the glass door, like looking around. And it was just getting hotter and hotter, and I'm like dripping sweat slowly. These two girls walk by, God bless them. I hope they're doing well. And they see me, and we do not speak the same language, but they start laughing. And I'm like, and I was like, hello, I'm stuck. And they're laughing, and they're like saying something to me, and I just was, and like, obviously this was a lighthearted situation for them. It was not for me. I was like, I need to get out. And they were trying to open the door as well, and I was trying to like slip. The door could open like this much, and I was like thinking my body could slip through. Both of the girls were like, and I was like trying to push myself through this like chained door. They pull out their phone, they start calling people, and I did not know who they were calling. They kept pulling out their phones and trying to call different people, and then were essentially like, and left. And I was like, cool, tight, thank you so much. Still locked in a convenience store in China. And I was like seeing mice again run across the side of the wall, and was like, I'll die here. What a way to go. If there's a way to go, it's that. Like, oh, she perished in a convenience store in China. That's how we lost her. Surrounded by potato chips and Gatorade. And I also had the thought of just like, of course this happens the last week I'm here. Like, I had 3 days left. And I was like, to quote John Mulaney directly, this might as well happen. I know there are people out there in the world that don't like cheese, and I just can't relate to those people. I feel like this story maybe isn't as good like the 100th time around, but you know, I needed to do it. It was the most requested thing, let me tell you. So I'm sitting in the convenience store, getting hotter and hotter, seeing mice. No one's gonna save me. No one's answering my texts, and my eyes are like starting to tear up. I had imagined all these scenarios that like the police would show up and think that I broke in, that I was trying to steal things, and I would just be like, please no, I'm sorry. But then, like maybe 10 minutes after the 2 girls left, this woman comes back, and it's the woman who had been sitting at the register, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. And she unlocks the door and comes in, and I was like, no, it's okay. And you know, there's like a language barrier, so I'm just like, it's okay. Like, there's not much more I can say. And then she sits at the register and is just like, what are you buying? And you'd think Right? Like you'd think if you locked someone in to your grocery store or convenience store that like maybe you'd give them the potato chips. Maybe you'd just give them the potato chips, but no. So I paid for my Gatorade and potato chips and I took them with my little turkey sub and I left sweatier and just like more upset than I had been before. And that's really it. That's the long and short of that story, isn't it? Yeah, I got locked in a convenience store in China holding a turkey sub and ended up having to pay for chips and a Gatorade. No one cared. And then when I got back to my hotel, my roommate wasn't even there, so I couldn't like immediately be like, you'll never guess what happened to me, right? Like I just had to sit down and be like. But overall, my time in China was wonderful. It truly was the best of times and the worst of times. In the style of Oscar Kokoschka, was that his name? From Hey Arnold? It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. That guy. You know, if you know, you know. So that's really it. I think that's my wackiest story from China. The whole trip was weird. The whole trip was amazing. If you ever get the chance to go, once again, I say go. I'll try to think of other stories that I have. It's just like that was the one that really left an imprint on most people's brains, was getting locked into a convenience store and with the turkey sub, Gatorade, and chips for 45 minutes and people laughing at me and then walking away. Otherwise, 10 out of 10. Fabulous experience in my whole full month. If you liked this story, I'm sure I have other travel stories. I'll try to remember them. If you remember any details about this that I don't because I haven't watched my own Instagram highlight in a very long time, feel free to comment below and say, you forgot my favorite part. If I remembered all the parts, I'm so proud of myself. Thank you guys for coming back for a third week. If you have any ideas of things you'd like for me to do, to eat, to make, to say, I don't know, comment below or text me if you know me and say it would be really funny if ... Otherwise, feel free to comment, like, subscribe, smash that subscribe button because once I get 100 subscribers, I can have the URL youtube.com/AllieKazTalks, and that is just the dream. Maybe even hit the bell so you get notifications every time I post, even though you'll know that it's every Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next Friday. Bye!